Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This actual play is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Eclipse Phase, 2nd edition rules by Posthuman Studios. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast includes mature themes and scenes. And now, check your cortical stacks for proper alignment and prepare for some skin surfing. Thank you for joining us again, another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your, not keeper in this situation, but I am your storyteller for the second episode of our Eclipse Phase romp. So we are playing All That Glitters, and we are going to have a ton of fun in this final session. So we'll start with our firewall agents who are at a club on Profunda, and they are about to see what glitters. So we'll start with introductions. To my right, tell us who you are and who you playing.
I'm Morgan. I play Kai, and we are on a mission.
You are on a mission.
Get some data.
Yeah, out of somebody's head. To Kai's right.
I'm Mike, and I'm playing Zahiri, and I'm a little intrigued by this snazzy morph that has just appeared from a steamy box.
The morph is out of the box. At the end of the table.
I'm Jake, and I'm playing Najal, and I am scooting around the mesh trying to find some stuff.
Lots of stuff to find here. So to wrap up the crew, last but most certainly not least.
Hi, I'm Miranda, and I am playing Killjoy, who feels a bit out of place in this setting.
Yeah, probably not your speed per se as a club scene goes. It's a little too corporate. It's a little too, well, glittery, to be perfectly honest. A little too high end. But the green room here at this club that Glitterblock has locked down for their debut of a new morph, which in the last episode just happened. So this stunning, several meters tall, half serpent, half person morph swam out of this holding tank here in the low G, low gravity world that Profunda is. And you'd asked a very important question, Killjoy, and that is, do you get a sense that maybe the trauma that you encountered earlier in your character's history, if this thing is setting it off? And it's not the morph, it's not the form, it's not the swimming, it's the eyes of this morph. Wide set, red. They make you feel like you're being hunted. And so as you lock your vision just for a moment on this morph as it swims about the different mobile platforms here in the green room, you feel that innate sense that you're being hunted.
Okay, yep, and Killjoy would probably, as much as they enjoy their companions, at least the ones that are with them physically, might try to move to put their companions between themselves and this threat that she is sensing, and not so much paying attention to the ambassador that's just entered, but rather maintaining focus on watching where these things are at all times.
Well, luckily for her, there's a single of this Slitheroid new morph running around. And luckily for Zahiri, the spider gremlins have all kind of gone back into this tank that came up along with the puffers that they had in their hands. Because everyone's vision, nearly everyone's vision anyway, is locked on this awe-inspiring terror that's swimming its way around the green room. For Najal, while the morph is interesting and cutting edge, clearly, you're more interested in where the signature of that infomorph ran to, where this Kylo infomorph that is likely running some sort of protection detail for the consortium diplomat Alciado, you're more interested in where it's going, which is up.
You know, that makes me wonder, if it's going up, but the diplomat just came in the door, where's it going?
Okay.
So I'm going to follow that.
You float on up to the womb. So the womb is the center of this beehive club. The noise and the din of the music downstairs fades away. And in the womb, there's a very distinct, lo-fi, calm backbeat. And here, a large circular structure located near the top of the club, so its actual physical ceiling, allows spectacular series of light panels to shine down on those participating in what appears to be some sort of perhaps pharmaceutical induced enjoyment. There are many morphs that are laid out on couches in different areas of comfort as they seem to relax the party away. The infomorph you're following, however, is not relaxing. They have made their way towards one portion of the womb where there are several pods, similar to the pod that you saw downstairs. There's about 6 of them that have been lined up. And there are morphs getting into these pods. And it, just from what you're hearing, Najal, from the speaker who's near the pods, it looks like they're allowing people to temporarily pilot these new morphs inside these larger pods.
And that's where Kylo's going?
Oh, yes.
Does it look like she's kind of getting in line for it, or?
Why don't you give me a perceive roll, but I'm going to give you a -20 penalty to get an idea of what exactly she's doing.
All right, well, I failed that, 80.
So you could, if you wanted to, given that it's a roll, you could use a point of insight and flip that roll to an 8.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
When we use pool points in Eclipse Phase, we can flip the roll, so we can take that 80 and we can make it an 8. So you tuck yourself in that bird form, the digitized bird form that you are. You tuck yourself into one of these emitters close by, and you match the color of the emitter beam. And as far as the mesh is concerned, you've camouflaged yourself a bit for a better recon position. And you watch this infomorph, this ghost, appear near one of the pods. She slips in one section of the room, nearly disappears. She becomes insubstantial and floats on through until she appears in the other section. It's almost like she's teleporting herself. You can also tell that there is a mesh ID inside that pod that she's standing near now. So likely someone is using it.
Okay, interesting. Is she paying a really close attention to that pod?
She seems to be, yeah.
I wonder if it's the pod itself or the person in it.
That is an excellent question.
Can I get a read on that mesh ID?
You'd have to hack the pod to see who's using it.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So my question to you is, are you going to brute force hack the pod, which is pretty quick but also noisy, or are you going to attempt a subtle intrusion?
I don't know if I have the time to subtle intrusion.
Okay.
I know it takes some time to do that.
It does. It can take up to an hour.
Right. But I don't think we have an hour. So looks like I'm brute forcing it.
Okay, so brute force is -30 to your roll.
Oh, okay.
So it's something to think about, right? But you have pool points which you could spend.
To get rid of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You could spend another point of insight
Yeah.
and remove the modifier. So then you can roll without it.
Oh, well, that's 3.
Okay. You begin hacking. I will get back to you shortly. That takes about 2 rounds to do. So back in the green room, down below, you see the ambassador float up, Kai, and the rest of you, Zahiri, Killjoy. You track him as he floats his way onto this level. He's continuing to move through the crowd He doesn't seem to be stopping or paying any attention to the Slitheroid morph that's in the room, which is continuing to wow people.
Can we get a bead on where he seems to be heading?
It looks like he's looking for overhead space, so he's likely trying to get upstairs.
Am I able to follow him?
Physically? Sure.
Yeah, that was my thought as well.
Far enough behind that he's not going to notice, hopefully.
So if you want to do that, then you would need to make a roll for it. Well, that is probably, given both of your skill set, that's an infiltrate roll. So that is going to be a lot more difficult for Kai than it would be for Killjoy. So Kai, if you want to sneak in behind him, it would be... So that infiltrate is a ref-based physical action. So Kai, if you want to do that, you'd have to roll under 30. And then Killjoy, obviously, you have infiltrate, so you would just roll your infiltrate skill.
No, I got a 31. What the poop?
Infiltration. I would like to flip it.
Flip it.
If I can, because I rolled a 74, so if I flip it, it'll be a 47.
It will be. Okay, so let's see here. This will be an opposed roll versus the diplomat's perceive. See if he's being followed. He does not notice you, Kai, but you also get a little gummed up with the crowd, and Killjoy is in better position. People basically get in your way. Some of them are moving to get a closer look at the Slitheroid morph, and others are trying to avoid the continuing circular platforms that are spinning around the room with partygoers.
All right, I just keep my eye on Killjoy then, assuming I can see them.
Yep, you can see Killjoy's not far, probably a couple rounds of movement ahead of you at this point, given the crowd. Killjoy, are you following the diplomat upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. You get up to the womb, which is a little bit more your speed as far as the music goes. It's a little bit dimmer here, and it's just a little bit more laid back. Downstairs is pretty frantic, and it kind of sets your mind a bit ablaze. Plus, you're away from that morph, which will freak you out.
Yep. I appreciate that it's a little bit more chill up here. So where is he headed within the womb?
Or in a section of the womb, I should say. There is a sunken living room almost. There's steps down into a built-in floor pattern here where there are 6 pods, and he is heading towards that area. There are also a couple of other morphs hanging around. Also here, you would notice that folks here seem to be imbibing any number of pharmaceuticals and seemingly are enjoying themselves quite a bit.
Yeah. I would probably hold back then if I can get a feel for where he's going and maintain a position to where I can generally see him. I don't want it to be seen that I am following him, so I would wait for Kai to come up with me so that we can, so I'm not alone then. At least it looks like I'm socializing with someone, so I don't stick out as much.
Okay, so back quickly to Najal. Najal, you have gained access to the pod. You have user access to it now, and now you can tell what is running. If you'd like to make an infosec roll, you can tell what's running on the pod.
76.
Okay.
What's running on the pod?
It's not so much what's running on the pod. It's a VR simulation of the morph. You can see the Slitheroid morph that's barely contained inside this pod, and the user is almost swimming in circles. They're testing out its mobility.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for you, it is far more who is in the pod, and that is Dario Cantantario. Dario is a Jovian diplomat. He is an ambassador at large for the junta, and he has a pretty big reputation as far as handling negotiations in the outer system, which, given what you know about your diplomat target, puts them at diametrically opposed angles of the political spectrum.
So she's watching the opposition.
Yeah.
Okay, I will withdraw because I don't need to be in there anymore.
Okay.
And I'll let the rest of the team know. Yeah, the infosec up here, she's watching the opposition for the ambassador.
I see. So you imagine this is protection for our target?
Either that or she's planning on doing something against him.
Is this likely to be an impediment to our mission?
Well, it could be a complication. But let's focus on taking care of our ambassador we need to hijack.
Speaking of, Killjoy, you are joined about a minute or so later by Kai, and you both watch as your ambassador target opens one of these pods and enters. For reference purposes, Nijal, the pod that your target ambassador's in and Dario is in are effectively next to each other. And then I would like you to give me a perceive roll on the mesh. And there's a -20 penalty to this perceive.
All right, I'm going to do a swap, so it'll give me a 35 instead of a 53.
Okay. So you notice when the ambassador gets in, you can tell that there's the single mesh ID, right? And then there is the object ID that is the morph that's waiting for someone to test it out.
Mm-hmm.
As the pod closes, you see, just for a flash, a secondary mesh ID pop up in the pod. And then the pod locks.
Oh. Well, now I got to get in.
Zahiri, why don't you give me a perceive roll on the green room floor?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that I wanted to get into a sort of a vantage position so that I could watch different areas of the room.
Sure.
Is this a 60, yeah?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? That's a 65.
Okay. So, I mean, you
could
spent
flip
your
it.
flex.
I could flip it.
You have
I've
your-
not
Yeah, with the flex, you could do that.
got one flex. That's it. So if I use it for this, I've not got it for anything else. Yeah, go on then. Why not?
All right.
Yep, I'll flip it.
You get into a better position in the green room. It takes you a little while to move people out of your way, but you get ultimately a better position. And when this slither morph ends up back on the main stage, you see something that probably nobody else really picks up on. Maybe it's the music. Maybe it's the fun everybody's having. Maybe it's the glitter and all of the finery and party atmosphere. But this Slitheroid morph, it changes its physical stance. The lower part of the snake body tightens.
Do I get the impression that it's readjusting to perform a particular action or maneuver?
You do. And your knowledge of not only morphs, but of the somewhat earth-based animals that this is tailored after, tells you that it's going to move, likely at higher speed.
So it's going to spring at something, possibly, or be either that or just go somewhere very fast. Okay, can I project from working out the triangulation and the vectors what direction it looks like it's going to move in? Is that possible?
Yes. So let's see here. Why don't you give me a security ops roll? It seems reasonable enough.
Okay. 18.
Yeah, it's likely going to go directly up.
I will immediately relay that to Killjoy and Chi and Nijal. The morph, high-tech morph, is about to move up very fast. Be aware, be aware.
Thanks for not triggering me. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Yeah.
Mike, can I get an idea of where that morph is compared to the pods?
Yeah, you've got your TAC data from Zahiri downstairs. If this thing propels itself straight up, if there is this depression area here on the womb, it'll likely pop up right in the middle of these 6 pods.
Is there a way to trigger an alarm in the pods?
You'd have to have administrative access for that. or at least security access. But you do have user access on that pod that you had previously on the one the Jovian diplomat's in.
Right.
And so if you hacked back into it, you could try to hack for higher level privileges.
All right, I'll do that. Woo! That is 79.
This is an opposed test.
No. Damn it.
It is. Well, it's fine. 79 out of 80?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, you pretty quick hack yourself some security level access. You could do all sorts of things. Open the pod, do all sorts of things, set off any sort of alarms on the pod itself that would alert the user that they had to, eject or whatnot.
Yeah, I think I'll try to set up a system alarm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you want it to do?
So I'll pop open the pod.
Okay. Just that one, or are you going to try to...
I'm going to try to do all of them.
All right, so it's an infosec roll.
49.
And then while this is happening, Kai and Killjoy, what are you doing?
Panicking.
Panicking? Okay.
I mean, our in with the ambassador may be to save him if we have to, so I guess I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. Breathing deeply, pull out a paper bag if I have one.
I doubt you have a paper bag.
You've probably done.
You do your best to try to calm yourself.
I will pray with you, Killjoy.
Oh no. Oh no.
Zahiri, this Slitheroid morph bounces into the air. It leaps into that near zero gravity and propels itself up into the ceiling, which surreptitiously opens like a lens and a camera for it when it approaches. And subsequently, a moment or so later, a similar floor piece opens in the womb. And those of you who are now upstairs in the womb see this same Slitheroid morph appear and then latch on with its arms to a couple of the nearby pods and begin to furiously shake.
That's not good.
And then alarms start going off on the pods. Those of you who are up there can see the little lights and start hearing tones from them. A couple of the service workers here start looking over to see what's going on.
So is somebody able to take over that morph?
They could try.
Huh.
Nijal, you'd know that would be pretty tough. You would also need to be you'd need gear and you would need time, and you probably don't have either at this point.
Is there a way to cut off the control? Because somebody's controlling it, right?
Yeah, likely somebody is controlling it.
If I can interfere with that.
Do you require assistance in the upper level?
Well, I'm just wondering if I could. Would it be easier to shut off the signal or block the signal?
It's an infosec roll against the morph. You'd have to hack it and then basically, much like you did the pod, gain a higher level access, except that you'd have to go above security. You'd have to go to administrative to basically be on the same level as whoever's riding the morph, and then shut it down that way.
Yeah, that's probably going to be pretty difficult. What pods is it attacking?
So it's right now at 3 and 4, which are more of the centralized located pods. Your ambassadors are in 5 and 6. They're actually closer to the opening where you would fly up to. So they're closer to the crew. And at the alarms, the other pods are opening, and they're basically ending their VR simulations for the people in them. And so both the ambassador that you're hoping to get the information from, and then this Jovian ambassador, they begin climbing out of the pods.
Okay.
Seemingly unaware of this new high security morph that appears to be having some sort of difficulty.
For the chaos up here, maybe now is the time to snatch that ambassador.
Yeah, how is everyone else around reacting to this?
They look, I guess, concerned is the right way. You think that if they were in the right frame of mind,
yeah,
they might be a little bit more panicky. But it's likely that the sedatives, that whatever they're enjoying over there, is kind of making this more like a pleasure cruise rather than the horror show it may turn out to be.
Yeah.
Like, could you clarify for me, because I think I've misunderstood, that this high-tech morph has just fired up into the upper level, directly up, And I thought it had grabbed a couple of the pods and was shaking them. Have I misunderstood that? Is it actually?
That's straight right. So it went
All right.
through a concealed port from the green level that you both were on up to the womb, which opened for it when it leapt.
Right. It's physically holding on to the two pods and shaking them rather than it's being shaken, because you said it seemed to be in trouble, so I thought maybe I'd misunderstood.
Yeah, I think flavor text wise, it's a little bit of both. Like, it seems to have somewhat physical control over the two pods and it's shaking, but because you have TACnet awareness from not only Najal but Killjoy, like there's the cooperative communication program that the team operates under. You can see that parts of its body are shaking as if it's having some sort of distress.
Right, so it's not attacking the pods, it's being attacked by them or something, maybe?
Well, it looks like it's
short-circuiting.
Maybe that's probably the best way to put it. It has grabbed onto the pods, and the morph seems to be short-circuiting. It hasn't done any physical damage to them. It hasn't beaten them or ripped them off the floor or anything like that just yet.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sweeping this level as well, just to see what people are doing, how they're behaving. Are they having any reaction to what's going on upstairs, or are they even aware of it?
Yep, good idea. Why don't you give me a perceive roll?
Absolutely.
So Kai and Killjoy, you are noticing that these two well-dressed gentlemen that get out of pods 5 and 6, they notice each other, and it's fairly clear from them that there's something going on. You'd have to maybe get a better look at their reactions, but they seem to react to one another.
I'd like to get closer to take a look.
Okay. So you step a little bit closer. Zahiri, how is your perception roll?
So it's against 60. This is visual perception, I'm assuming?
Yes, it is.
That's 93, and there's nothing I can do about that.
Simple failure, so no big deal. You are a little bit concerned, I guess, that maybe the people who are lounging carefully in their morphs on these plush couches are maybe a little bit too laid back. You'd have a much more concerned presence if something like this was going on, but
I'm assuming that they're all hopped up on wacky backy.
Probably something to that effect. Yes.
The thing that strikes me as well, I don't know if how clear an image I've got of what's going on upstairs through the what's being relayed to me, but is it feasible to think that there's some sort of power struggle going on, and is this morph, this high-tech morph, actually building up power for a potentially a catastrophic release of power?
It's altogether possible. It hasn't exhibited any sort of weaponry just yet, so you don't know, and maybe that is what concerns your security-based mind tactically, is that you haven't seen what this thing can do, so it's hard to judge what potentially could happen.
Okay.
But your railgun is ready if necessary.
Absolutely, always ready.
So, Kai, I would like you to make me a kinesis roll.
Okay.
Because I'd like, if you're trying to get a judge of kind of what the general reactions are between the two gentlemen.
I got a 48 out of 70.
It's fairly certain, to you anyway, that the ambassador here, Alciado, on the left, is ready to spit bullets at the person he sees in front of him. And this other gentleman, this Dario that Najal had pointed out, he seems to be rather pleased at the look he sees on Alciado's face.
So apparently they don't like one another.
That is your impression.
I let the group know that. I don't think the two ambassadors like each other very much.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Do we think Dario's there to harm Alciado or anything? Or get to him before we do?
I don't think so.
Possible.
But this other infomorph has been watching him all night.
Watching Alciado? Or the other guy?
The other guy.
Watching Dario?
Yeah.
The two ambassadors take a few steps closer to one another, and they start having words.
Can I hear what they're saying?
Which words?
It's tough over the music. So you'd really have to get close to hear what they're saying, which isn't impossible, but if you want to do it without being seen, it is definitely roll required.
I have enhanced hearing, so this might be something
Let's see.
that Killjoy could do. I should have a plus 10 to hearing based perceives.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. If you want to hear what they're saying, or you want to attempt to, you can make a perceive roll. Everybody else would be at minus 20, so you would only be at minus 10, given your advanced hearing.
Yeah, I'll try it. I rolled an 80 against, it would have been 60.
Yeah, that's
So-
not going to get done.
I don't hear nothing.
You have insight and you have flex you could use, potentially, or you can just let it go.
I was just trying to see which one would insight be an appropriate one to use.
It would be.
Okay. Yeah, I'll blow my insight then
Okay.
and keep my flex.
Blow your insight. And just over the din of the music, you hear Dario say, "How hard are the tariffs hitting you now? I'm sure that the Hypercorp is fairly upset with the precedent we're setting in the outer system. And so I just want you to understand, it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. The Outer Rims areas, they're going to be ours in a few short cycles. Best now that you learn to deal with us as a permanent presence." And you hear Alciado say, "Nothing is permanent in this life. You will find that out shortly."
Yeah, guys, they definitely don't get along. It seems like Dario may be stepping on Alciado's territory or taking over part of it, it sounds like.
Interestingly enough, the two ambassadors seem to ignore the morph behind them.
Gross, because I hate that thing.
How are we going to grab the ambassador? Plans? Plans?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was saying, I think that plan is still bacon in the oven. It's not quite done yet. I stuck a fork in it. It was not done.
So we don't have a plan.
Is your intention to bake the ambassador?
No. It is not.
Creme brulee. Let's do this.
Creme el cielo. And we maybe be able to play a side of this conflict here. I mean, perhaps the ambassador would willingly give us the information if we promised him something, or
We were really nice to him.
if we were just ask really nice and we say please. That's always worked for me in the past.
Perhaps if you inquire of the ambassador what he would accept as recompense for this information.
Does he even know what information he has that we need?
Do we know what information we need?
No.
Killjoy, you would assume that the ambassador is aware of what he's holding. It's
Okay, he
it's
knows.
Hypercorp information. He's going to know what he has.
Mm-hmm. Could we, in some way, lie to him that that Dario is going to come after him, and somehow convince him to give us the information so that we can help him? Is there an Inception situation in here? This is feeling very Mission Impossible, but I don't know if we can move towards Inception, is my question.
Would it be possible to incapacitate the ambassador in order that you can remove the information from him while he is unconscious?
Like, choke him out?
Maybe. I don't like the idea of us not getting consent first, but if that is our only option, then I guess we go with force over tact.
So, Najal, you have been in the sky here for some time, and you've also been away from any sort of morph for some time. And just looking around this den of, well, hedonists and iniquity, it's pretty clear that there are enough substances and devices around here you could likely... Someone could convince the ambassador to maybe indulge in.
Did you ascertain from Vox Maxine what the ambassador's particular needs and desires might be?
I obtained very strong senses from Vox Maxine, but not about anything in particular.
She really liked Killjoy. A lot.
I think she really liked both of us, to be honest.
Yeah,
At the same time.
At the
But-
same. It's that kind of party.
It is.
I will pray for you.
What do you pray to? What is a mechanical crab?
Also, which part are you praying for?
I pray to the power of the universe.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right, I think we need to go get our flirt on with the ambassador and then convince him to hook up to something.
Yeah, he's bound to be in, or they're bound to be into one of us. So,
or some. I have a really high
if not, we'll bring the crab. Then they're bound to be into one of us.
Oh my. All right. So Kai, that probably means this is your department.
Yeah, I've got the
So
striking looks trait.
You do.
The +10 on persuade. Where looks matter.
That's right.
It's like the real world.
But what is real?
That's true. It's like the Matrix.
You have striking looks, but I'm like really limber. So
He gets the best of both worlds.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
things I can do with this tail.
You look at Kai, and I'll do the rest of the hard work. Okay.
It's
I'm
called
okay with
having
that.
your cake and eating it.
All right. So the two ambassadors eventually separate. Dario heads off around the pods as the main Slitheroid morph, the one that had come up from the basement, eventually seizes and seems to go into shutdown. A couple of technicians come over and begin tinkering with it.
That's not good for purchases.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to remove it from the main floor here.
All right, I look over at Killjoy. Should we go talk to Ambassador Alciado?
Yes, I think that's the only next logical step.
So I guess we start to make our way over to him.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way over to the ambassador. As you get closer, Kai, you notice that the two of you share some things in common.
Are we the same species? Oh!
Well, in a manner of speaking, yes. You both have self-morph. So, while it seems that the ambassador presents as male, it's not, as you get closer, it's not necessarily something you're certain of anymore. They do wear a uniform that has some very what you might typify as certain specific male gender traits, but the face is far more it's quite a bit like your morph is built.
That means I have my enhanced pheromones. Well, sweet. Can I get it on? At least get the information.
Najal, you see the ghost infomorph hover in mesh near the ambassador now.
Okay, so she's watching him now.
She is, yeah.
Okay.
And it seems that she also has eyes on two of your teammates as well.
Well, I would assume so. Just so you know, guys, you're being watched.
Can we see what Najal's seen?
You cannot see because the infomorph he is addressing or talking about right now is only visible in the mesh.
Okay.
Najal, can you give me a status on the high-tech morph, please?
Yeah. Can I get any information on that, Mike?
What are you attempting to do? Like right now, it's being worked on by two technicians right now.
Does it have an active sensor link right now?
It does not right now. It seems that one of the technicians has a bit of cabling and what looks like some sort of hardware analyzing device hooked into it right now.
All right, it looks like it's going through a systems check, so it's down.
So if I understand this correctly, it sprang through this hidden aperture in the ceiling. It attached itself to two of the pods. It seemed to, in some way, short-circuit, and now it is inert.
Yes.
Interesting.
Could I hack the system that the techs are using?
Yeah, you can make a hacking roll against it and attempt to hack the device to gain control of it.
Theoretically, would that allow me an easier access into the operating system of the Slithermorph?
If it has administrative level access, which you assume it does because it's doing diagnostic, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Ooh, that's a 44.
Oh, okay. So each superior success on your hacking test increases your privileges by 1 step. So you automatically come in as security level, which is super helpful.
Yeah.
And you come into the device and you see a series of options, one of which is being run right now, and that is general diagnostic. And it's coming back with a ton of errors on it.
Okay. What's the other options?
Some of them are reboot, others are power down. You get a general list of options, display system schematics or display programming options, that sort of thing.
All that'd be really useful information for later. But what I want to do is get inside there and see if I can't get it moving again.
Yeah, they'll have to either clear the errors or you will have to wipe the errors to get the system to reboot for you.
All right, I'm going to try to wipe them.
All right, so that's another InfoSec test. It is minus 20 to the modifier roll because of the difficulty. Because you're basically, instead of doing it yourself, you're doing it through another device.
Okay. And that would be a 39.
Okay, so with your InfoSec of 80, that'll easily pass. You begin wiping error messages, basically clearing the cache of any problematic portions in it to try to push the system to reboot, even if it technically shouldn't.
All right.
Kai and Killjoy, you approach the ambassador.
I'm letting Kai take the lead on this one.
Are you? Okay.
They seem to fit in a little bit more.
Maybe.
The setting.
I walk up to the ambassador.
They turn to you.
Ambassador, I don't think we've had a chance to meet.
I don't believe we have either. What a stunning morph you have.
Think the same thing of your morph.
They seem to stretch a bit and improve their posture.
You are?
I'm Kai.
A pleasure.
The ambassador takes your hand just for a moment.
My friend and I were wondering if you'd like to go somewhere private and talk.
The ambassador looks over at Killjoy.
What exactly did you have in mind?
I don't freaking know. I'm making this shit up as I go along.
It's okay, me too.
We just thought we hadn't seen you partake of anything at the party yet. We thought you might enjoy doing so with some company.
Oh, are you offering to be company?
Absolutely.
Kai, why don't you make me...
Maybe a persuade.
I would say persuade.
Okay.
Persuade.
Sweet.
And it will be opposed.
Okay.
Because we want to know who has control over the persuasion.
Which means what?
Well, it means that the ambassador is a very persuasive individual.
Oh,
If we're
so
going
he's
to
going to
do-
roll as well. Okay.
You bet.
It means who's on top.
That's
A bit.
what she said. All right. Let's do this. I got an 80.
Okay. And you have 80.
Yes.
So, equal to, yeah. Okay. So it's spot on, directly on your skill number. So the ambassador extends an arm to each of you and gestures over to one section of the womb here where there are a series of comfortable places to sit. And it looks like a myriad of either drink containers and or tubes that feed into a system in the ceiling.
Well, that's not sanitary. I call him over. I kind of glance back to where Zahari is and kind of motion for them to follow us. Not closely, but need somebody to hold him down.
Yeah, so Zahari will jump into action.
You're going to click and clack along.
Clack, clack.
All right, so Nijal, you clear the airs, and a big green icon appears that says reboot.
Let's reboot this.
Okay. But no test required. You just tap the reboot button. You see the technician in Meat Space tap on the pad a few times, and then he seems to move it back and forth like he's trying to get a better read on what in the world's going on. And the Slitheroid morph begins going through a boot up process. It extends and itself to its full height. And you start seeing some rather concerning lines of code spill across the display screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Define concerning.
Well, it seems that there is a bit of code in here that doesn't appear to be in resonance with the rest of this. And when it reboots, this code begins to get into and circumvent the current coding in here. From the way the text here on this boot up sequence goes, you can tell that there's a rogue program embedded in this unit, and it's trying to take over the unit.
I would recommend shutting this down again if you can. It appears it has been hacked.
That code seems to be taking over, circumventing the administrative process. And as you watch it fill the screen, it's going to try to kick you out.
All right, well, do I have any idea what it might be doing?
Yeah, why don't you give me a knowledge roll? We'll say computer science.
Ooh, no, I'm not going to make that. 69.
Yeah, you get just a slight reverberation of what you might have called fear while you still had a body. You think that might be a rogue AI.
Oh, son of a bitch.
And that is when it is going to make a contested infosec roll. And let's see what happens.
2.
So that is a 39 for me. So you don't get immediately pushed from the node, but something is trying to purge you.
All right. See if I can shut that down.
Okay.
Infosec.
Yep.
50.
19 for it. So it's going to beat you on the split as far as its skill.
Mm-hmm.
You try to shut it down in return, and basically the two of you are digitally sword fighting for access. So we'll leave the two of you locked in digital combat, as it were. The ambassador brings Kai and Killjoy over to this set of couches. They begin selecting certain tubes off of this system that's here in the center of the lounge area.
So, tell me, Kai, where'd you get such a wonderful morph?
My family are industrialists on Mars, and let's just say it comes with the territory.
Industrialist on Mars, it's quite a lucrative field to be in.
Yes, and fortunately they were not happy that I did not take the same route that they did.
Can't all please everyone.
It's very true. Although we can try.
Would you like to?
He samples a tube and then hands it to you.
Can I pretend to take some? 'Cause I don't know if I want to.
Well, you could deceive, and you could attempt to seem as if you are playing along.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead.
I get a 62 and my deceive is a 70.
Or perceive roll, see if you can pick up on your chicanery. He seems to be having a good time as a couple of minutes flit by. They takes a particular interest in Killjoy's prehensile tail.
Yes. I let him play with it. I grab him a drink with it. Things like that.
They particularly fascinated with it.
How inebriated is he at the moment?
They definitely relaxed a bit. Conversational tones with Dario.
I would like to offer to go procure something that will help us relax deeper into the evening.
Okay. There are a myriad of things to choose from.
Yes.
You have a knowledge of drugs.
I do, yes. That's my plan all along.
Quite a knowledge there. So if you would like to perhaps make a proper selection, feel free.
Yes. Okay, yeah, that's what I would like. Do you want me to roll for it?
No, I would say with an 80, you probably have a pretty easy time selecting something. I guess my question to you is, what is the intended effect? Is it a speedy intoxication? Is it something that's long-lasting?
I would say ideally fast-acting and long-lasting, so we don't have to dilly-dally around much further, because it seems like there's some other strangeness going on here, possible other espionage, so it would be great if we could get this over and done with. I really just, I want to make it extra pliable, and if necessary, extra interested in us, so that if we need to go to like a private room, that would be an appropriate ask.
All right. So I think what I would prefer, picking out the selection is not difficult for you at all. I think, though, it's likely going to require a persuasion of sorts.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So you return with a glitter stem, which is a highly intoxicating drug made in the Outer Rims. And you know that most people steer clear of it just because of its quite potent effects on the brain.
Yes, so my thought is in persuading, which I'm sure I'll have to roll for, but I would like to take my seat, and I want to use my prehensile tail to kind of like stroke one side of his face, and then I want to whisper my persuasion in the other ear.
Very well. Well, I think that situationally, given how interested he was already in the tail and then also interested in Kai, if you're going to kind of double team, are you going to attempt to play off of Kai to get Kai to kind of assist you with the role?
Yeah, I wink to communicate that.
And me being the telepath I am. No.
That's what we call teamwork. So if Kai is going to be your helper, then you'll be at +10 for the roll.
Okay. Don't fail me now. You haven't been doing so great, but I trust you because we got like a 70 to get under. So I rolled a 20.
Oh, great.
Which would be great, but is satisfactory, I guess.
It is, but you do have several points of flex. So if you wanted to upgrade the roll...
Oh, you can do that.
You absolutely can. You can upgrade it to superior results.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And so with superior rolls, you get the idea that you could have more quality work or more sloppy, considering if it's a failure. You could do detail. You could do covertness, which means the action is less obvious, given the fact that you know that there's an infomorph supposedly in the area protecting the ambassador. So I guess you would get to pick there on what you wanted to...
I would say I trust in the quality of the drugs. I will say covertness.
Okay.
I don't want him to come on that we're pushing too hard for this or for any of the security to think that as well.
After the right amount of prehensile stroking and distraction from Kai, sample a bit of it, and then he really gets into the more physical play between the three of you. And it isn't but perhaps another minute or so afterwards that he slowly begins losing control over the physical part of playtime. And you can tell the easing back into the more body high perma-nap sort of part of the glitter stem.
Will somebody be able to hack him now since he's more pliable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's my friends in the mesh at? Oh, he's...
Speaking of your friends in the mesh.
Can we wink at them? A virtual wink.
Najal, this thing continues its startup process while you're watching, and you can tell two things are true. One, it's going to have a serious malfunction. Because the battling between the two of you that's happening is not good for the overall program sustainability. And two, you notice a second infomorph trying to get in. And the icon is that of the ghost woman. So, what would you like to do?
I would like to try to see if I can redirect the Slithermorph and Kilo, the ghost woman, against each other, and then slip out so I can go and hack the ambassador.
Yeah. Basically, all you have to do is, because you're holding the space, all you have to do is relent and get pushed out.
But is there a way I can keep her? I can let her in at the same time?
You could potentially...
Like hold open the door as I slip out?
Yeah, give me an infosec roll. I'll give you a -10 to the roll just because it's a bit difficult and complex, but
That's a 23.
Enough. You exit long enough. You exit quickly enough, but hold the door essentially to allow this infomorph in. And this struggle continues.
And then I will move back over to the ambassadors and my friends there so I can handle that hack.
Okay.
I'm going to move towards the stairs as well to go up and join them.
Okay.
On the upper level. Najal, are you aware, is this a physical item we need to retrieve, or is it merely digital information?
I think it's just digital information in the brain compartment thing.
Very good. And do you believe that the morph, the high-tech morph, is now disabled?
Oh, I have no idea, but I know that the infomorph is dealing with that situation, so she's distracted just like I wanted.
Excellent.
Alrighty. So you know, Jal, that you're going to have to likely have someone hold that morph down while you attempt to access this node inside the ambassador's morph.
Okay. Killjoy, I'm going to need you to hold down the ambassador for me. And I'm sure you can think of a unique way to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that will be a problem. I imagine you lift his arm and it stays there for a second and then slowly floats back down.
Yes, exactly.
If you do require assistance in physical restraint, Killjoy, please let me know.
Well, there's two of us here, so
That seemed very forward, but okay.
I mean, the spider could probably do, or the crab could probably do it, no problem.
Hey, nobody complains about a little group action once in a while.
It's true.
I do have prehensile feet as well.
So, Najal, if you'd like to make your hacking attempt to...
Ooh, 33.
That's just bang on exactly what you're looking for. So you begin to access not the morph, or not the cortical stack, which is inside it either, but you access a small data port that is on the morph. And you gain, it's critical success with a 33. So you gain access to the device, and then you do so covertly. So the morph body has not been alerted to the fact that it's been accessed.
Excellent.
All right. Inside that data storage, you see a compressed collection of maps and transportation plans, which seem to detail the future expansion of consortium influence in the outer system, which is a direct political threat to Jovian interests and a whole host of other groups. On another level, this would also be highly concerning to Firewall, as Jovian interests and outer interests would be subsumed by the consortium, which cares far more for the currency rather than potentially tripping out over AIs and other exo threats.
So, if I copy it and leave it there, would that be enough for the interest in the outer planets and system and the firewall? Or do I need to wipe it out?
If the file was copyable, yes.
Okay.
But the plans must be removed.
Okay, so I just got to take it all.
Yeah, Firewall's interests state that the plans have to be removed.
Okay, so then I will smash and grab these plans.
Okay, you do so. So, in the center of the womb, this slithermorph expands the sides of its body, and each one with a snap hiss begins to open compartments, and in these compartments you can see concealed weaponry. This is fairly obvious and doesn't even require a perception roll.
I would recommend exiting the building at the earliest possible opportunity.
Najal, do you have the information you need?
I'm getting it.
For the love of
But
Pete.
you guys might be able to leave now because he doesn't even know I'm inside him.
Aw, it's okay. Cheep up.
Sorry to hear that. So, the weapons begin firing. They begin spraying the upper areas here. So auto fire begins spraying some of these couches as the Slithermorph moves back and forth.
Immediately place myself between the Slithermorph and the others.
Absolutely. You dive into position, having been mentally waiting to be defensive for your team. Rounds start pinging off your outer shell. And from the feel that you get, that you're more, that tactile sense that you get of how heavy these rounds are, you need to leave immediately. It has military-grade weaponry on it. This is not a simple security morph. This is something totally different.
Sure. I'll lay down a bit of suppressing fire as well to give the others time, because they're more squishy than me, to give the others time to get out. And then as soon as I'm sure that they're on their way out, I'll follow them.
So I would like, Spike, I'd like you to roll me a guns roll.
Absolutely.
And I would like half fray. So fray is the dodge skill in Eclipse Phase. I would like half fray from, so your fray value cut in half as a skill roll for both Killjoy and for Kai. But I'm going to give you a plus 10 to your fray roll because you have an enormous crab morph acting as a blocker.
So half fray plus 10.
Correct.
Gravy.
Okay, so my fray is 60, so it would be 30 plus 10, 40.
Right, so
That's what
40
I'm
or
trying to
under.
hit. Okay. No other dice in sight. These have not been treating me well, but that's okay. We'll try anyways.
Give them some love.
Well, she spent all her love on the ambassador.
Yeah.
With
I
her
don't
tail.
believe that for a
her-
minute.
Oh, look at that, 72.
So you should have
I really have not been doing well.
you should have a flex left to flip it to a 27 if you want to pass.
If I don't pass, I'll just get hit with a bullet, right?
Yeah, well, probably several bullets, but yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll flex.
This is fully automatic fire, so
Okay, yeah.
okay. And Kai?
I got a 65 out of 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, luckily for the two of you and some of the other partygoers here, this Slithermorph is completely out of control. And so while it is firing in multiple directions, it's not doing very accurately. So bullets rip through these couch cushions. They destroy containers and all sorts of the mechanical drug dispensing things, and rather strange haze begins to float from some of these machines.
Oh, that's not good. Is how close is the where I can jump to go down?
Well, you would use a free fall to swim through this type of gravity.
Okay.
And so you would need to roll free fall afterwards to try to get yourself moved a bit. Now, in that same way, those of you who have multiple appendages, which are potentially magnetic, I won't name names, but you would have a bonus to that, obviously, when you choose to move.
And if we have multiple appendages that aren't magnetic?
Well, you have what's your free fall skill?
50.
Yeah, you can just make a free fall roll.
Would you like me to make a roll for my guns as well?
I would, please,
Okay.
because I assume you were trying to put rounds downrange on this
Yeah.
Slitheroid.
Absolutely. So my gun skill is 80. And that's a 64.
Oh, spot on. Yeah, you start firing.
I've got a few vigor points here, so I'm going to throw a vigor point into that and upgrade that to a superior success if I can.
Ah, very good. So superior success inflict more damage, so you can add a d6.
Okey-dokey.
So if you'd like to roll the damage on that.
2d10 plus 2 for my rail assault rifle. So it's 2d10 plus 2 plus a d6, yeah?
Yep.
So that's 12 points of damage.
Nice. Your rounds start striking on the front part of this armored carapace. And while the morph hasn't turned to focus on you yet, you can tell that while yes, it's fairly well armored, your rounds are having an effect on it.
Smashing.
You also know just by mathematics that there are 6 more of these morphs in those pods.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more trying to slow it down so that the others can get away than anything else. So
So that's the end of that round. On the start of this round, Najal, you finish. You have the files.
Okay, then I will withdraw and get out.
Okay. Yeah, you sweep through the mesh like a bird and fly back down towards the green room, which it also seems like is degenerating into some sort of strange Fall of Babylon mood. You can see that as you pass down in the green room, several of these tubes that line the sides of it, which likely supply the pharmaceuticals to the top floor, have burst.
Oh, good.
And many people here are under the effects of all sorts of chemicals now.
So it's mass chaos.
Yeah, pretty much. It's turned into mass chaos. It's a firewall job. Of course it's mass chaos. So Kai and Killjoy, you're making your free fall rolls, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a 20, and my free fall is 40.
All right. You fire yourself over towards the hole. You got to dive into the hole.
I'm doing it.
All right.
I got a 31
Hey.
under 50.
Keep those dice. Never know.
We'll see.
She's not convinced.
One slip up and they're gone.
They're just lulling you into a false sense of security.
They really are.
Both Killjoy and Kai make it to the edge of the hole, and on the next round they'll be able to dive down into the green room. Whereas Nijal's already scooted down that way. He moves a bit faster there in the mesh.
I am continuing to pump this thing.
You continue your assault on it. Are you staying in position there, or are you using it as a method of slowly withdrawing back towards the hole?
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to swivel my railgun, so it's pointing behind me. I presume I've got perception, 360 perception, so that's not going to be
absolutely
any impediment to me. And I'm going to start scuttling away while I continue to let rip.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me another guns roll as you make your way out.
Surely will. 81.
Okay. You
That's
continue to
80.
fire the railgun.
Can I use a vigor point on that to flip it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll do that then. I'll
All
flip
right,
that
so
to an
it's
18.
18.
Yep.
So you continue to fire on this thing. Give me some damage, so 2d10.
2d10 plus 2. That's another 12.
Well done. So this Slitheroid morph stops spinning and begins to focus on you. But as it does, the front part of that mask, the front part of the skull, flips up. And when it does, you see an array of mechanical tendrils come out of it. And so I would like you to roll me security ops. Plus 10.
That's an AC5 with the plus 10. And that's a 30.
Your Titan alarm goes off.
Okay, I will immediately convey that to the others.
So what you are seeing here is an expression of Titan technology. And that is an exo threat. That is a threat to humanity.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta destroy this thing.
Yeah, you do.
Absolutely.
It's a priority 1 firewall. Begins to crop up like in your data stream. As soon as you recognize what it is and identify it as an exo threat, the firewall priority immediately comes up. Like this must be destroyed.
Team, we have a Titan. And I'll just let rip again.
Okay. It's going to fire back at you. So
course.
if you'd like to half fray, you can.
I will do that.
Take it up to you.
Yeah. No, I'll half fray. Give it a shot.
All right.
I made it. 32 out of 35.
Yeah. Well, it failed its attack roll, so it turns its multiple barrels on you, but can't seem to get past the morph's armor you have.
Yeah, so my most powerful weapon is my rail assault rifle, I guess, so I'll just I'll unload again.
Okay. And then Kai and Killjoy and Najal, with the news that this is some sort of Titan technology, what are your plans?
Well, I guess I have to turn around and head back.
Yeah, likely. You could always skip it, but I'm not sure that Firewall would appreciate it.
When my alert went off, is it that the actual morph is Titan technology or whatever controlling it?
It's whatever's controlling it, whatever changed it, whatever is inside of it, whatever turned it must be
Gotcha.
technology.
Okay.
Killjoy?
Yeah, I'm thinking, sorry. So, knowing that this is Titan technology, should our objective then be, I might have missed it, to destroy or obtain?
Likely destroy.
Perfect. Okay.
Obtaining is not something you'd want to do.
Guns ablazing then.
Mm-hmm.
Great, I have a pistol. Perfect. Well, I was running away, but now I'm running towards danger, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I will try to shoot it.
So it does come to mind to you, Najal, that you have the data and that data can't get lost.
Yeah.
Is there a way for me to send that somewhere?
You'd have to be outside of the building.
Well, then I have to go out because I can't.
Don't want to leave your fellow Sentinels. You have multiple missions now, unfortunately.
Right. The first one comes first.
So it continues to fire, and as it does, more of this technological tendril begins to ooze out of the mouth. And you can see from your position, Zahiri, that whatever's inside of this morph, whatever Russian nesting doll style that they had inside of them, if this thing is going to try to get out.
Can I focus my attacks on this then? On maybe on the mouth or on the tendrils that are coming out of the mouth?
You absolutely could. So if you want to focus your fire on it, you take a penalty to the attack, but obviously, should you successfully attack, there'll be bonuses for damage.
Sure. Okay. Yep, I shall do that then.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what kind of a penalty am I looking at?
Minus 10.
Okay. That brings that down to 70.
Yep.
37.
Well done. So go ahead and roll me damage and then add a d6 to it.
I will do that, yep. 17 points of damage in total.
And lovely that rail assault rifle is armor piercing. So that is a huge benefit here. It gets no benefit of the, at this point then, of the Slitherite armor that was blocking much of the damage. You start pelting this thing, and you start making tomato paste out of it. But it continues to slither.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. Killjoy, you arrive back at your compatriot Zahari's side, gun in hand,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it looks like a metallic tentacle is coming for you.
Oh, yeah, I gotta shoot that thing.
Hello, Killjoy.
Hi. I thought we were leaving.
Well, the Titan appeared. Could you shoot the tendril, please?
Yeah, working on it. 35 under 60.
Okay, that's a hit. Roll 2d10.
A 9 and a 5, so 14.
Okay, so... Okay. It stops moving.
Thank you, Killjoy.
You're welcome.
Shall we leave now?
Yes, please.
You guys go turn to leave, and you see this metallic tendril liquefy and begin seeping through the floor.
Ugh. Have I ever told you, Zahiri, that I hate tendrils?
I don't believe you have, but now I have that knowledge, I will not forget. Do you think it is safe downstairs?
I worry that it might not be, but I'm not sure if we have much of a choice outside of going down.
Well, I'm down there. Mike, can I get a read on?
So Kai, you're in the green room now, and you are using your clothing likely to cover your face because the chemical in here that's being spread by these tanks that are emptying on the side is likely caustic for everyone involved.
Even for Zahari?
Well, maybe not Zahari.
Okay. I let Killjoy know to cover her mouth coming down with any extra piece of clothing she might have.
Yeah, I was thinking, I have an oxygen tank rebreather, so I might use that.
So, all right then. Aren't we fancy? I like to make it down to the main floor.
You jump through the hole in the green room and you head all the way back down to the main floor, which is now filled with guests who are desperate to leave. Nijal has already made it back out to where the entrance to Glitterblock's event is, and the number of IDs, mesh IDs that are coming out of the building, it looks like a swarm of ants.
I just move with the crowd and try to avoid getting stomped on.
It is a little difficult. Security is beginning to make their way from the outside into the building itself, because it seems, anyway, that the internal security for Glitterblock has been compromised.
Shock face. Okay, I try to make myself look as nondescript as possible. Keep on going.
You guys flee the building. As you flee...
We tactically withdraw.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, whatever you like to call it. You see that the security for Glitterblock continues to pour in, more and more. There must be 20 to 25 morphs that enter the building after you leave. And although I'm not sure how long you're staying, it is fairly clear that Glitterblock's policy, the contract, is overwhelming force.
Yeah, I think we need to get as far away from here as possible.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm on board with that plan.
That is a very sound strategy.
So do we have to go on foot? I mean...
You do. But it's 0G or close to it, so you can kind of swim through the air, or you could ride your trusty compatriot if he's willing.
So why don't you guys just fly?
That's true.
says the infomorph bird. So hours later, you meet up with your handler, Darcy. Darcy is someone you've really only spoken to through a screen. Their mesh ID is never present. You don't meet them in any way, shape, or form physically. Most times you only hear Darcy's voice. And she says, "What happened? Glitterblock's all over the place. It looks like the inside is a charnel house. It's just a bunch of dead morphs."
A Titan happened, Darcy.
Can you confirm that?
I can, yes. I have the information. I will transfer it to you now.
What about the ambassadors? Did they get out?
We don't know.
No.
That was not our mission objective, Darcy.
It's just operational information I'd like to know.
I will access my recordings of the incident.
We do have the information we were sent for.
Good.
Can I access my my wee drone? What are they called again?
Your muse? Sure.
My muse, because Nasir is my muse. Because they never actually, I never called them in. They're still watching the exits of the the place. So, just can I access the footage to see if I can see if the either one or both of the ambassadors managed to get out of the building?
Yeah, a smart play by you, tactically sound. Nasser did see both ambassadors leave amongst the crowd, given facial recognition. Even though one of the ambassadors, it appears anyway, Alciato, was maybe a bit wounded, but their morph body did leave the building.
So I'll transfer that feed information across to Darcy.
And you have the files, yes?
Yes.
All right. Excellent work, team. It's unfortunate that a bunch of people are going to spend a few weeks re-sleeving into backups or whatever else, but if it is confirmed that that was Titan technology that came out of the club, Firewall may have to take drastic steps here. I'd suggest you forecast out tonight.
Done.
Understood.
So, as an epilogue, in the days to come, Profunda is destabilized, and a large piece of the asteroid crumples inward from gravimetric disturbances. And while the feeds never truly explain what happened outside of it being an accident, there's a certain Sentinel team can probably point directly to why it happened, but maybe not how. And so, until the next side quest, I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank our Sentinel team, who managed to carefully massage their way into and out of a potentially very sticky situation. We look forward to the next one.